Actor Rhea Chakrabarty has been sent to 14-day judicial custody till September 22nd over her drug link in the Sushant Singh Rajput death case. This after she was arrested by the Narcotics Control Bureau at 3:45 p.m. yesterday. The NCB had also sought her judicial custody. Her bid to avoid judicial custody didn't work in court and was quashed by the magistrate court, after which she spent her night in NCB lockup at the 4th floor, as according to the jail manual, a prisoner cannot be brought in at night. She will be transferred to the Baikula jail after 10 a.m. today, and sources told India Today that she will move the higher court now for bail. NCB in their remand copy said that Rhea procured drugs for Sushant and was an active participant in a drug syndicate. Furthermore, all the delivery of drugs was done with the knowledge of Rhea. Remember, Rhea has been arrested under various sections of the NDPS Act that provide for up to 20 years in jail and a fine of up to 2 lakh rupees if proven in court. Now, in fact, it's been over 80 days since Sushant Singh Rajput died. The probe in his death has taken several twists and turns, from the murder-suicide angle to the financial angle. But the drug link in this case has seen several big developments, even leading to arrests, the latest being that of Rhea Chakrabarty. Here's a report on all aspects of the probe into actor Sushant's death so far.
3 investigations by 3 of the country's top agencies to solve the biggest mystery of the year, Sushant Singh Rajput's death case. It all began on June 14, 2020, with Sushant's alleged suicide at his Bandra flat in Mumbai. After sensational allegation from Sushant's family, Mumbai police got cracking on the case to find out whether Sushant was murdered. But unsatisfied with the Mumbai police's probe, family demanded a CBI inquiry, and their plea was heard. And the case was transferred to CBI on August 5, on the recommendation of Bihar government. CBI Special Investigation Team landed in Mumbai on August 21 and began its probe, focusing on the big question: whether Sushant died by suicide or was he murdered. Over 15 days after CBI began questioning suspects, sources say AIIMS forensic team has questioned the suicide theory. The forensic team asked 5 Cooper Hospital doctors who conducted the autopsy why they ruled out homicide when ligature marks were horizontal and ran through the middle of Sushant's neck. Sources say the AIIMS forensic team feels this is unlikely from hanging by a kurta. Additionally, the marks were not high up, which is common in hanging.
Ligature mark appears horizontal in mid of neck. It's not high up. In mid of neck, bruised rather than high up placed, oblique and abraded. So if in case somebody hangs himself, then there's a whole abrasion that happens, because the cloth actually travels from the middle of the neck to the highest most part of the neck. That entire abrasion is not seen.
Apart from murder-suicide probe, another apex agency, the Enforcement Directorate, has been probing another allegation levelled by Sushant's father, accusing Rhea of embezzling 15 crore rupees of Sushant's money. But so far, no proof has surfaced showing transfer of 15 crores from Sushant's bank accounts to Rhea Chakrabarty.
In the case against Rhea Chakrabarty, there are 2 major charges: abetment to suicide and embezzlement of 15 crore rupees from Sushant Singh Rajput's accounts to some suspicious accounts. 6 people have been charged, which includes Rhea Chakrabarty, her family members and 2 staffers working for Sushant Singh Rajput. Probing the financial angle and alleged money laundering, Enforcement Directorate launched a probe in this case and have questioned around 20 people. Sources tell us that they are yet to find any crucial leads regarding the missing 15 crore rupees.
After the Mumbai Police, CBI and ED, the Narcotics Control Bureau then entered the picture. And unlike the other probe agencies, their investigation has led to some sensational revelations. The NCB, just a week into its investigation into drugs link, has arrested Rhea Chakrabarty, her brother Shavik and Sushant's ex-house manager Samuel Miranda, along with house help Dipesh Sawant, making these the first big arrests in the Sushant death probe.
Over 80 days after Sushant Singh Rajput's death comes the biggest arrest in this case. Rhea Chakrabarty has been arrested by Narcotics Control Bureau in the drugs case.
It has been nearly 80 days since Sushant Singh Rajput died, and while different agencies are working to solve the mystery of Sushant's death, but we are still nowhere near learning the truth. Bureau Report, India Today.
Now, even as we track the latest on the probe into Sushant Singh Rajput's death, actor Kangana-Ranaut is continuing to take on the government of Maharashtra, and that confrontation could turn kinetic. Kangana will be in Mumbai today, and the fight assumes also political significance as the actor is being seen as batting for the BJP.
अभी हम लोग कुछ कहेंगे नहीं, हम लोग मुंबई जा रहे हैं। आप प्लीज
अगर वो लड़की माफी मांगेगी महाराष्ट्र की तो मैं सोचूंगा।
In less than 24 hours, the Kangana versus government of Maharashtra confrontation could turn kinetic. In less than 24 hours, Kangana will be in Mumbai challenging the off-late tamed tiger. Will the Shiv Sena resort to its old ways of muscular regional politics? Will Kangana face the wrath of regional pride once again invoked and appropriated by the Shiv Sena? The backdrop to the face-off has been building over days of Twitter wars, allegations, name-calling, and outright derogatory statements. From Kangana calling Mumbai POK, comparing it to Taliban, to being issued open threats in return by the Sena, threats of violence, and being the center of unsavory commentary.
संजय जी, मैं आपकी निंदा करती हूं, आप महाराष्ट्र नहीं हैं। आप ये नहीं कह सकते कि मैंने महाराष्ट्र की निंदा की। और संजय जी, मैं 9 सितंबर को आ रही हूं, आपके लोग कह रहे हैं कि आप लोग मेरा जबड़ा तोड़ दें। आप लोग मुझे मारिए, क्यों? क्योंकि इस देश की जो मिट्टी है वो ऐसे ही खून से सींच कर इस देश की जो गरिमा है और अस्मिता के लिए न जाने कितने लोगों ने अपनी जान दी है, और हम भी देंगे। संजय जी,
हमारे महाराष्ट्र में हम जब बात करते हैं तो हम तू हरामखोर है, यानी तू बहुत नॉटी है, नॉटी, और दूसरा है कि बेईमान है। मुंबई के बारे में, आप मुंबई में रहते हो, कोई भी व्यक्ति मुंबई में रहते हैं, मुंबई देश में अगर देश के साथ इस प्रकार से कोई व्यवहार कर, मैं बोलता हूं, हम लोग बोलते हैं अरे ये तो बेईमानी है। हमारी भाषा में मैंने बेईमान कहा।
The latest now, Shiv Sena-controlled BMC has found misuse of permissions at Kangana's office in Mumbai, only after her being on the warpath with the Maharashtra government. Moreover, the state government will now investigate an old drug charge against Kangana, made by her ex-boyfriend Adhyayan Suman, wherein he had stated she used to take a variety of drugs. The battle between Kangana and the government of Maharashtra is also being read by many as a battle between the centre and the state of Maharashtra, with Kangana being made a pawn to settle scores. The Y+ security being provided to Kangana by the centre is being questioned by the opposition, with only 15 people in India have been provided Y+ security. They are guarded by 11 CRPF personnel. Kangana Ranaut now has the same level of security as the Chief Justice of India and the Union Law Minister. The others provided this level of security are the likes of Kapil Mishra, BJP leader, Sakshi Maharaj, BJP leader, or Sachin Pilot, Congress leader. There are also parallels being drawn with actor Deepika Padukone, when during the protests against the film Padmavat by the Karni Sena, there was actual violence, arson, where even a bounty of 1 to 10 crores was announced to cut off her nose, even her head. One such threat was given by a BJP office bearer. At the time, Deepika was provided a mere security cover by the Mumbai police, which is negligible when compared to Y+ security cover given to Kangana. The countdown has begun. Kangana is going to Mumbai. Is she being targeted for exercising her freedom of speech, or is she being used as a political pawn? Ultimately, it is the building to an epic face-off. Bureau Report, India Today.
Forward to another story that we're tracking closely this morning, and that is on the Sandalwood drug racket. Bengaluru's Central Crime Branch has intensified its probe in this scandal. In another big move, the probe agency arrested Kannada actress Sanjana Galrani yesterday evening. Earlier, in fact, the Bengaluru Crime Branch had conducted raids at her house in Indiranagaram, Bengaluru. Sources suggest that the raids were conducted after receiving information from one of the arrested accused, Rahul Shetty. This is the second big arrest in this drug scandal. The crime branch had earlier arrested actress Ragini Dwivedi. Sources further revealed that more stars are likely to be summoned in this case. With China's repeated provocations along the line of actual control, Indian troops are on high alert. This as new images show about 40 to 50 PLA troops armed with machetes, spears and even rifles. Those pictures on your screens are from Razangla Heights in eastern Ladakh, where Chinese soldiers made an attempt to dislodge the Indian army. Top government sources told India today that the troops on the ground have been clearly told that they will not allow any kind of transgression by the Chinese along the LAC. The soldiers have been told to respect the sanctity of the agreed principle. Sources said the Indian side is maintaining complete discipline and not showing any overt strength, show of strength really in any of the areas. Unlike the Chinese side, there's no extra deployment or extra use of force in any of the areas where Indian troops are deployed. Remember that it is for the first time since 1975 that shots were fired at the line of actual control on Monday night. The provocation came once again from the Chinese side, who are armed with rods, spears and even sharp weapons. Around 50 PLA soldiers tried to remove Indian troops from the strategic heights of Mukpari and Rekimla. This is the location where Indian and Chinese troops faced off on Monday evening. A face-off that sent temperatures soaring higher than ever during the 4-month standoff and ignited a ferocious war of words. But what really happened on Monday night? As always, India Today will break it down for you factually. But before that, the dramatic sequence of events that brought the face-off to light. It began close to midnight last night when Chinese state-run media flashed news claiming that the Indian army had crossed the line of actual control near the Pangong South Bank. Quoting a statement from the Chinese Army's Western Theatre Command, the news flash went on to say that the Indian Army had opened fire, prompting some unspecified countermeasures from the Chinese side. While China has made major claims, what are the facts on the ground? Remember how we told you about India's dominant positions taken at South Pangong on August 29th? Well, the Indian Army has taken many more strategic positions along the LAC. Monday night's action took place between Gurung Hill and Rizangla, somewhere in this area. At about 6 p.m. on Monday, a Chinese patrol came very close to one of the Indian positions at the heights in this area. Given the Indian Army's huge visual advantage in this area, the approaching Chinese were spotted and megaphones and floodlights were used to dissuade them. In response, Chinese troops fired warning shots in the air with assault rifles and light machine guns. The Indian Army says it dissuaded the Chinese aggression, but has not specified what methods were used. This could possibly mean more aggressive megaphone messages or more focused floodlights on the troops' movements and their backup support.
rebuffed in their latest attempt to dislodge the Indian positions, the Chinese returned to the area with a sizable number of armoured vehicles, just as they'd done on August 31st. Expecting this, the Indian Army's T-90 tank regiment, just a few kilometers away, was ready for any escalation. Those are the facts on the ground. Several hours after the Chinese Army's inflammatory claims on Indian action, the Indian Army issued a statement categorically denying that it had indulged in any aggressive actions, including firing, and going on to say that it was the Chinese Army that attempted to provoke and was dissuaded by the Indian side. The nature of this dissuasion has been left deliberately vague as the war of words escalates. As claims and counterclaims continue, two things are certain. One, the Indian Army's first move initiative is on full display once again. And two, the Indian Army has learned to use the Chinese playbook against the Chinese. With Manjit Negi and Shivarur in Delhi, Bureau Report for India Today.
Tensions are running high along the line of actual control. The Indian and PLA brigadiers spoke over the hotline. They had a rather heated exchange over the prevailing situation. The hotline interaction, instead of a proper meeting, indicates clearly the deteriorating relations. While having talks, sources said that the Chinese brigadier is understood to have said the melee weapons carried by the PLA troops is in fact a martial cultural issue, and that it is the Indian Army which has breached border protocol by opening fire on Monday night. The Indian brigadier in turn accused the Chinese of setting up semi-permanent stone defences and escalating tensions by attempting to create such positions. The Chinese brigadier claimed the Indian Army was intruding across LAC and endangering status quo. The PLA brigadier went on to accuse Indian side of expanding the scope of aggressive actions. The Indian side has held its ground that actions, if any, have been strictly on the Indian side, on our side of the LAC. The hotline interaction ended with both sides agreeing to keep the communication channels open.
Hello everyone, this is Rahul Kamal here. Hope you enjoyed this video. For the latest news and analysis, like and subscribe the India Today YouTube channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon to stay updated.